You're showing up. You're posting. You're speaking. You're doing everything they told you would grow your business. So why is it not converting? Because visibility is only half the equation. Getting attention is easy. Turning that attention into clients takes strategy. Voice Lab was built to solve that. This is where front-end visibility meets back-end conversion. You learn how to get on stages, create your own platforms, and use podcasts, summits, and workshops to grow your audience and generate real leads. Then you learn what most people never build. A system that captures those leads, follows up, nurtures relationships, and turns interest into revenue. Email and newsletter strategy that actually gets responses. Workflows, not just more noise. Real connection that leads to real business. Inside Voice Lab, you are not guessing. You're learning the how. We're implementing in real time. You're building a business that works even when you are not constantly chasing attention. Because here's the truth. If you don't have visibility, no one knows you exist. If you don't have systems, nothing converts. Voice Lab gives you both, so you can stop performing for attention and start building momentum that pays you back. If you are ready to grow your authority, expand your reach, and finally turn visibility into income, join Colleen Stubbs and Nicole Borghi at Voice. Scan the QR code, join Voice Lab group on the school platform, and build the business with action.
I'm Nicole Borghi. We are hosting this event through our Voice Lab platform on the school platform. And what this is we're bringing dynamic speakers like Laura today to really show about visibility using the camera, marketing, how to leverage your marketing as a visibility machine. And what are you doing to really simplify your life? The video is a one-stop shop. You get such great content from it, clips and everything. What a better person to learn and grow from than absolutely from Laura. We're going to hear some fun stuff. And I just love the comedy that you bring in this and what you share. It's just so fun and right on point. Thank you for coming here today, you guys. This is going to be another great event. We are doing this as our second event through Voice Lab. We just had such great connection. I love about doing this and meeting you, Laura, is that we're bringing fun and spark back to people. And this is the way to do it, one camera shot at a time. And just to see how do we go from being boring and grow. Lord, help experts and business leaders turn visibility into clients. I love what you're doing. I'm going to allow you to just absolutely take over the room, and I'll bring a few more people in while you do it.
We all know that one neighbor.
We've got a code green. Grass clippings in the gutter! You're better than that, Gary!
Patty may be a little intense.
Amendment 1, thou shalt not leaf flow into the street.
But Patty's got a point. What goes into your storm drain ends up in our lakes, streams, and rivers. So be a good neighbor, and maybe keep Patty off your lawn.
I'm always watching, Brenda. I'm always watching.
Be like Patty. Think about personal pollution.
Hey, everybody, thanks for coming. You know, Nicole is so right. It is all about fun, because when you're having a good time, you're less worried about all your inner demons, and you're just focusing on what you're there to accomplish. That was a commercial I did for the city of Tallahassee and their campaign. I'm an actor, so I do a lot of these things. I've got 3 commercials running. No, that one's done. The North Carolina lottery, and then there was a bipartisan political commercial that's been running on YouTube. And the real secret of it is to get people's attention. What a lot of commercial enterprises have found is that you got to be entertaining. You got to go where people are. You got to grab it from the very beginning. But you also have to do it with a little of a knowing wink. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but we have a serious message. And so what I'm going to be doing today is kind of bringing in everything I've learned and offer it up to you on a silver platter. Got a free gift for you, got some other resources, so just hang on tight. But I want this also to be fun. But I'd like to start off because I do want to make this interactive. And I want to know what you're here to accomplish as well. So either, put up your digital hand or maybe put it in the chat. Nicole can chime in. But what is the one thing that you would like to come away with today? Go. And it could be anything. It could be very confident. I want to get better at it. I want to know how to create a video setup. I want to know how to stand above my competition. Or I want to know how to be able to use the medium. Okay. Not be boring. Believe me, you're not going to be. Not when I'm done with you. Okay, the stand above the competition. Fantastic. All righty. So right now you're kind of getting perhaps lost in the sea of sameness. It sounds like you put down me in the chat. Do you feel like you're just putting stuff out there and nobody's hearing? And you're not getting anything back from what you're doing? And speak smoothly. Have you found that you're not getting much return on your videos? Maybe you're getting visibility, but you're not getting clients. Back to you, put down me in the chat. If it's not you and you're doing great guns, tell me that too. Or maybe you're not really taking that first step and putting the videos out there. So put in the chat if that's, I'm not doing videos, no videos. Or let's see what else. Come on, guys. Oh, I'd like ideas for better digital presence and not being too boring. Okay. All right. We will deliver for you. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let me just kind of launch in. And the idea of this is I want to give you some great information that you could use right away. Then we'll have some time perhaps for a hot seat. So if anybody would like to take some of this out on a trial run, we'll throw up a scenario or two. And we'll talk you through it and see how we can move you maybe from point A to point B if we can't get through the whole alphabet. And then we'll do some Q&A. I also have a free resource that I think you're going to be finding very valuable for any of your journeys, whether it's going to be speaking on camera or even on stage, because it's really all public speaking. I'm just focusing in on the digital stage. Okay, take the first step and get, okay, I'm the one that's going to push you out of the airplane. Alrighty, well, let me get started, and I am going to go ahead and share my screen, and I want to see if everybody can see this, so let me know if you do. Okay, can you see?
It's working. Love it.
All right, great. Let me just see what I can't quite see what you're seeing. Let me get this screen up there. There we go. There we go. Okay. And Nicole, if you could just sort of monitor the chat for me and just kind of interject, let me know, okay?
I got you.
All righty here. Why are we here? Okay. If you're boring, if you're not going to be standing out from competition, if you're going to be sounding like the bots, you're going to be sounding like everybody else. People aren't going to pay attention. I think we all heard about that hook. Well, the truth of it, especially when you're in videos, if you're not really grabbing their attention in the first 3 to 4 seconds, you're gone. And the last thing that you want to do is to be kind of like this guy. Anybody know what this is from? Ferris Bueller's Day Off, popular movie. This is probably the signature line. And it's funny in the movie because everybody else is just full of energy running around doing things, but we've got Ben Stein, Bueller, say it with me.
Bueller.
Bueller. Okay. And that's really cute a few times. Now imagine doing a whole presentation. Would you be staying awake? Would you be staying on screen? Probably not. But if you instead had somebody who mixed it up and made it a little more interesting and tailored it to an audience, Bueller. 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 Oh, however you want to do it, you get attention, but you put some emotion into it. You put some fun. You put some energy. Because if you don't do that, you know what you might end up as? Classic movie time. The Invisible Man. Meaning you're a suit that might be out there, even if you're wearing business casual, but there's really nothing inside. and people don't know how to react to you. They don't identify with you. They can't see you, and inevitably, you're going to be invisible to them. And that's just not going to get you any clients. You might as well just hang up your shingle, because unless you rely totally on word of mouth, or you're going to be in a smaller community, and people pass by your storefront and you got something really interesting that they happen to need, people won't be able to find you. And in this day and age, you have to be visible. You have to be either creating videos, you need to be putting out some content, you need to be participating in live conversations. And since so much work is being done in a hybrid fashion, you have to be comfortable talking to people on camera. I have been brought into a number of different companies where they have a sales force who isn't always going out to the customer. They are looking for somebody who can be just as effective over the camera remotely as they are in the particular boardroom that they otherwise would be sitting in. It could be a bit of a challenge because the camera is a different medium. And I'm going to be diving into how that's different. So if you're somebody who is used to being in person, moving around in 3 dimensions, or perhaps you're a speaker that's used to the stage, you've got to go from 3D to 2D and you got to bring it small. But that doesn't mean that you should disappear. What you need to do is to reveal yourself. Show the man in the suit, the woman with all the answers. Show who you are. Because these days, trust is established first and foremost how their first impression goes. I mean, do they like you? Can they trust you? Does it seem like you're already familiar to them once they actually get in a call? How many people actually right now do make videos? Nicole, I can't really easily see the chat. Just tell me how many people are making videos right now. It doesn't matter whether they're going to be the vertical kind that, the
We got
social media.
we got 1. We got, you guys can raise your hand, 2, 3. 3 people
got-
make videos.
Okay.
4. There we go, Lisa. Thank you.
Okay, you had a twisted arm there, Lisa. Great. And how many would not be at this moment caught dead on video?
That wouldn't be fun. 1.
I wouldn't
Thanks,
be-
Audrey, for being honest. I love it.
Yeah, we already have our hot seat volunteer there. The point of it is you got to get started. And I know that you're here to figure out how to do that and how to do that right and how to be able to make that leap. Because sometimes it feels like a leap of faith. Well, I kind of come by all this honestly. This is a little bit about me, just in a visual form. Once upon a time, back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth and we were dialing for dollars, there was no internet, there was nothing. I was a sales exec in the IT industry. So I was pushing hardware, software, services, companies like IBM, Texas Instruments, and lots of all the other small startups and .coms and things like that. So I worked in the corporate world and I made one presentation after another, and I saw what worked and I saw what didn't. I later on in life decided I'm going to do something fun. If I want to have my own business, I'm going to pursue a passion. So I decided about 10 years ago, I was going to dive in and make a hobby a full-time career as much as I could. And that's as an actor, which means you're probably not working full-time just because it's so subjective. And they decide when you're going to be working, not necessarily yourself. But it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm still doing it. I am doing films, television, commercials, the corporate industrials, print, and now I also been doing voiceover for about 8 or 9 of those years. And voiceover, for those who may not be familiar with it, would be the disembodied voice that's there to carry the story along. It could be a commercial, TV or radio. It could be a website video. It could be your favorite cartoon character or maybe a video game character or anime. It also might be dubbing. It would be the person who is reading books to you, the one who might be on your telephone system. There's so many different ways about going, and it's very interesting. It's a lot of fun, but it's challenging. I like to say I spend my days talking to myself in a padded room because you know what? That's exactly what you got. You have to keep the silence. You have to have it as dead as possible so that the sound doesn't. And so I do that part time. I'm out on the street all the time at sound stages. I make a lot of videos for myself, and they're not fancy. And I'm going to tell you something right now. If you think that you can't compete, forget about making something that's highly polished, highly produced. That's really what people are interested in these days. It's almost the spontaneous man in the street kind of video that's doing well. The kind that you find on the verticals, the ones that you're going to be finding on TikTok, so on Instagram, Facebook, the reels. Those are the ones that people are interested in. And what they like about it is that they're genuine. Now, some of them are a little more scripted than others, but for the most part, they feel like you're getting the real person in short bites, not something highly produced, which is designed to sell you or motivate you to do you something else. So I've been doing all of that, and I also saw how many business people had a hard time moving into this world where you kind to do your own PR. I was speaking at a conference last November. I've got a whole little theme going, the shameless hussy of on-camera confidence. This was the shameless hussy of self-promotion. It's one thing to go out there and to sell and to push yourself and sell your message, but you can't forget about the magnet, bringing them into you, attracting them to your website, attracting them to your blog if you have one, to your video social presence, to your LinkedIn account. In other words, give them a reason to see you and to find you. So when they Google you, and they will, there is a lot for them to see. And honestly, the more that they see out there, especially with video and write-ups from other people, the more credibility you're going to have. And you're going to be finding that you're going to be held higher in their esteem, and that trust is going to be established far faster than if you didn't. So I have been going around also speaking on the subject now for a few years, and I've been teaching and coaching, and I love to do that. Because what I'm doing is taking the best of sales, the best of public speaking, and those techniques I'm learning as an actor in front of the camera and behind the mic, and I'm bringing it to the business world. And I'm making it very easy and simple to do. So that's what I'm about to do. So does that sound good? If that sounds like what you want to hear, put yes in the chat. And I hope that chat is going to be filling up, because now we're going to move on. Presence. What is it? That's how you come across. That is your essence. And what it means is that it's not about entertaining an audience like Fozzie Bear, wacka, wacka, wacka. No, we're not going over the top. The presence means you have the authenticity, you have the expertise, and you're willing to reach out to somebody and share that. And you're going to be doing it in such a manner that I'm going to be teaching today. The person senses, she gets me. She sees me. She understands my pain, my problem. I'm being heard, and therefore I'm going to be a little more inclined to hear what she has to say. So it's authenticity that is brought into a visual media. So how do you get there? It sounds all wonderful and fine, but here's the biggest problem people have. They are presenting. When you are presenting, you are going to be pushing stuff out there to a faceless audience. A lot of people. You don't see them, and it's very clear in the way you speak. Because I am going to talk to you about the very best tires you can get for your car. You sound like a commercial. You sound stilted. Or heaven forbid, and please do not ever do this, do not read from a teleprompter or anything else. You sound like you're just reading from note cards, that you are not really invested, and instead you're trying to tell people what to do. So, what do you do if you're not going to be presenting and you're supposed to be a presenter? Well, you're going to turn it on its head, and you're going to start communicating. And the way to communicate is always going to be one-to-one. So let me just kind of stop this right now. I'm going to come back on screen, if I might. Hold on 1 second here. I got to get my cursor where I want to. That's there. Let me just stop the share. Okay. All right. We're all sitting here in this room. Look around. Is there anybody in there with you? No. Anybody see anybody in the room? Anybody got an imaginary friend? I mean, that's
I've got those. Do those count?
yeah, well, that's up to you. But the point of it is, you're watching something individually, aren't you? And therefore, it's really a one-to-one conversation. And my purpose is to say, I see. It sounds like Romper Room when I grew up in Miss Barbara. she had like a little magnifying glass. And of course, she couldn't see anybody. She said, "Oh, and I see Charlie and I see Jimmy." Well, the nice thing about Zoom is that we really do see people, see everybody. So I can call out Monica and I can say, "Hey, Lisa, like the color red. You're looking great." We see each other. And therefore, when we are speaking, even if it's pre recorded, imagine if there's one person there because that is your audience. The video is a one-to-one relationship. There's a human being on the other end, and you got to talk to them like you're having a cup of coffee. So let me get back to what I was doing, and let me go back and share. Okay. Boom, boom. Alrighty. Go back to here. Okay, so we are not going to be presenting. We are going to be communicating. Now, somebody who had done a lot of research, Albert Mahabrian is now in his 80s, and he was observing that about, oh, we remember maybe 7% of the words. We're going to remember 38% of the visuals. The balance is going to be in the body language and how we see people. And this is important for a few things. One, the way we communicate, the way we speak is going to be extremely important. And people are checking to see, do your words match your eyes, where the truth is, to the whole body language? Is it all in sync, or does it seem like you're lying to me? Because our BS meters are extremely high. That's the biggest gift that AI is giving us. AI can be fun and entertaining, but when people pass it off as genuine human content, and it's a real person speaking or whatever, and I could tell you, some people are finding their first level interviews are being conducted by AI. People hate it. The biggest cataclysm, if you would, in voiceover, or the most recent one, is AI voices. And everybody last year was running off to test them out, and this is great, save money. Well, they're coming back. And the reason is they are lacking some things that only human beings can offer. And it doesn't ring truthful, and it's more work trying to fine tune that bit of software than it is to talk to a human being who understands, gets it, and embodies the kind of customer you're trying to reach. So it's the whole human story that's important. And one of my themes is going to be human whenever you're communicating in person, through the camera, recorded, it doesn't matter. The bots are boring. We do not want to be boring. We want to have fun in what we're doing. We want our passions and our personalities to come out. It's going to make the difference. So overall, we're going to work alongside AI, but we're not going to let them take our jobs. There's absolutely no reason for it. Everybody's jumping on the AI bandwagon right now. If you take a look at most research companies being funded by venture capital, they're AI. The big names that you're seeing are making themselves millionaires overnight, AI. But like any industry, it's going to start winnowing down. People are getting a little tired of it because nobody likes being fooled. Raise your hand if you like being played the fool. Oh, we could sell anything to you. There's a sucker in every crowd, born every minute. Nobody wants to be that person. And we can beat the bot. And through human, authentic communications with a dose of fun and storytelling, that's how we're going to be doing it. So let me just kind of back up just a little bit. I want to talk to you about what's really breaking in 2026. And I call these the top trends in 2026. I actually wrote a blog. And Nicole, you could drop it in the chat. I did that earlier in the year. 15 top video trends in 2026 that you should be aware of if you want them to have an impact. But I have pulled out 3 of them for the purposes of today. 1, trust is coming faster than ever. You have to be speedy in business. You have to be quick in your responses. You don't want to be sloppy, and you don't want to be inaccurate. But that means we are all moving faster and faster. And therefore, people don't want to wait around and get to know you. 3 months, 6 months, let me look. All right, let me think about it. Let me look at your website. Let me try this. How about that? People want to have their choices in line, and they want to put them into practice. Because if they don't, their competition will. And therefore, they've got to make decisions quicker, and that trust has to come faster. And honest to goodness, when people get a taste of you, which is what showing up online or in video is all about, that trust is established right there, and they can watch it over and over again. I mean, right. Put yes in the chat if you've ever heard of people falling in love with a television character, or maybe even thinking that person is real. They feel warm towards them. If that is what's going on, yes, 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 that's because people identify with what's familiar. And the more they see somebody or something, which is why advertising repeats over and over again, the more it feels familiar and comfortable. And that's what we like. That's the basis also of trust. And authenticity, however, is just not optional. You can't fake your way. Now, that doesn't mean that if you are just getting started, that you have to tell everybody. I'm just getting started. I mean, Audrey, nod your head if this sounds familiar. You know what? I'm just getting started. I don't have a whole lot of things. I'm not sure what I can draw on. And therefore, maybe I should just tell everybody that so they know what I'm dealing with. You don't have to do that either. You don't have to disclose everything. But you do need to be honest, and you do need to be truthful to yourself and how you can help somebody. The matter of the fact is, they may not care how long you've been in business. They may not care if you did something totally different yesterday. What did you do, and what are you doing now can help. That's what people care about, especially if they got to get a problem solved very, very quickly. And we all hear about thought leadership. That means who are the people that are leading the charge? And it's going to be visual. I even mentioned at the very beginning how important it is to be able to be found when people are doing Google searches. The same thing is also going to be true when it comes to ChatGPT or any AI, or when I say the heir to SEO is GEO. And that means, can we find you just by using everyday human language? Um, I don't know. I'm not going to do this exercise right now, but I have found that if you Google yourself, it's very interesting to see how you show up. Now, you may have a name that's more or less common, and maybe you're the only one in there, or maybe there are going to be 10 others. And then you could specify, I might just say Laura Doman, Atlanta, where I'm located. But the more things you put out there, social posts, videos, audio, articles, people referring to you, the more Google is going to track that, that is more you're going to be found. I've actually been found on ChatGPT because somebody was looking for the kind of phrases and the topics I was talking. In this particular case, it was on camera confidence coaching. And some names came up, and mine was near the top. The more stuff you put out there, the more you're going to be able to train these engines to find you. So that's why sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do it. I can tell you something about biting a bullet and taking a risk. Let's see. I want to. My cursor keeps disappearing. I wanted to come off screen, but maybe. All right, maybe that won't happen. I did something that was totally outside the comfort zone. This was about a year ago, last fall, October 2024. It gets a little chilly in Atlanta, especially North Georgia, when fall starts to happen. And there was a spec commercial for Doritos. If anybody's ever seen those Dorito commercials, have you ever seen them? They're usually very funny and over the top. And they have a contest with filmmakers every year to see which commercial is going to be voted on and eventually is going to take first place. We got all the way to the semifinals, I believe, with this one. The whole idea was, all right, COVID is long gone now, for the most part. We can come back to the office. We want you to come back to the office. You're coming back to the office. People didn't have any choices. And therefore, how do you get people to make that decision? All right, I am going to just stop this right now because I do want to get my little cursor back. I'm having a hard time getting it back. Let's see, you're probably still seeing it. Anyways, the commercial was, how do you get people coming back? And the whole joke of it was, you're going to do it with a bag of Doritos. And the way you're going to get them to come back is to have some bizarre circumstances. So you have some employees. You're talking about people. Here we go. There's my little cursor. I'm going to just stop the share. People who are doing their normal thing every day, and they happen to have a laptop with them. You know, one of these doohickeys, wherever they might be. Some are in a balloon. That's their hobby. Others are playing pool. My character was in a rowboat, fishing, dressed in a full suit with a laptop, fishing pole, the whole business. And the message came out, hey, we got Doritos in the office. And my character had to jump into the lake, fully dressed, with pumps, with laptop, which I did. I'm not much of a swimmer. Water was cold. I told the guys, you're going to do it once, only one time. But I did it. It was fun. It made a great little commercial. And you get over it. And it's something that you could talk about over and over again. But once you do something like that, like an icebreaker, you're going to find that it's going to be easier to be the more and more that you do it. So don't be afraid to take a chance. All right, let's return you now to, let's see, go back to my share. There we go. Okay. All righty. So these are the top trends in 2026. Trust, authenticity, and thought leadership. And by the way, I know Nicole put the article in the chat, but if you would like to use a QR code and see it directly, there it is. I've got 15 different trends that you might find interesting. So what we want to do today is to give you some takeaways that you can actually find useful. We're going to get this plane off the ground. Number one, I'm going to give you some good concrete ways to build your confidence on camera so you're not shirking from it, that you feel like you can get started and take those baby steps, knowing that you're going to get better and better the more you go along. We're going to create conversations that build trust. And how do you do that? And then finally, I want to give you some dynamic delivery techniques, direct from what most public speakers use, as well as actors, that's going to make the difference and get people's attention. The whole point of it is it's presence. It's polish. I mean, that's always nice. But what people are going to really respond to is the authentic human being who's talking. And that means it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you have to have everything just so. You just have to be yourself, and then that's usually enough. So, can we talk? Can we talk about what we're going to do? Of course we can. Let's get right to it. First of all, people do not connect to the perfect videos. People are connecting to people. So what you are going to be learning is how to show them the essence of who you are in a short period of time. You don't have to tell them, you show them. It's the first rule of storytelling. Let people follow along and let them go on that journey with you. Now, when it comes to doing all, there is a bit of a missing link, and that is emotional engagement. Most speakers I've found are so worried about what they're going to say and saying it right, getting it right, being right, that they lose sight of why they're there. They're there to teach, to share, to inform, to help. All of those active, very active descriptors of the purpose of your work and why you're there goes out the window when you're just reciting words. People have to know that you feel it, and you have to be able to get an emotional reaction in them. And we do that by feeling emotional ourselves, by using stories and having a strong intention. And let me just talk a little bit about each one of these. When I'm talking about emotion, I'm not talking about totally uninhibited. No, you're going to have the content that's intellectual. You're going to have structure. Underneath it, you're going to have an engine that's going to drive it forward. And people will believe you when you believe in yourself, when you believe in your own story, and you believe that they can do it as well. And so the emotion comes through in the way you speak. It's the feeling, it's the power of your words. It's when they look at your face and they look in your eyes to see the truth of it, you're not looking blank, or worse, smiling, and your eyes are absolutely dead, because that's a total disconnect. And immediately people think you're hiding something or you're lying. Stories are the very best way to reach people. Personal stories. They can be even stupid little things. There can be stories that aren't told very well, but personal experiences that people can relate to, or things that you went through. I mean, I can tell you that when I was first starting out, I thought it was all a big presentational mode. You're supposed to gesture up here. You're supposed to point down there. And billboard, the company name, which means you say it very loud so people know, of course, what you're talking about. And that never connected because people just figure, oh, okay, we got another person here trying to sell me something. The more effective people are the ones that will just dispense with all of it and just tell you, look, let me tell you what happened to me. And in my case, it was a little difficult because you get so reliant on the words. What happens when the technology fails? Has anybody ever had this happen? Put yes in the chat if this has ever happened to you. You're giving a presentation, maybe you're giving a speech, and you're relying on your slide deck. You're relying perhaps on a lot of detailed information you have to share with your audience, and then nothing. It's just you. And we got a number of people who have had that happen, or maybe you've been in a room where that happened. What do? You shoulder on. You soldier on. You just laugh about it. You can make a bit of a humorous statement about it, and you should know it well enough that you're not inhibited. But you should be able to tell the stories of when these things happen and how you away from it. The third piece would be the intention. What is it that you're trying to help someone? And you come in there before you even begin speaking about, I am here to help you get better on camera. You want to stop being boring and you don't want to venture into boring land. That's what I'm going to try to do for you. And I'm going to do my darndest to make sure that you can take away at least one golden nugget, if not 3. So everything I'm doing is driving it forward. And that's driving my emotion, where I'm trying very hard to make sure you understand what I'm talking about and how you could do it yourself. So don't rely on AI. AI has its limits. AI is a great tool. It can do the research for you. It can polish up a certain few things for you, but it can't replace you. And when it comes to truly telling a message, this is where AI has been falling apart. It has to wear that dunce cap because it doesn't have that emotion that it can relate to. I mean, here, has anybody ever been a fan of Star Trek, The Next Generation, like me? If you are, you might be familiar with Data, the robot, the android. They called him an android, but he's technically really more a robot. An android is a man with a lot of parts. But the worst thing that he was struggling with was trying to be human, and he needed an emotion chip because that's how you relate to other people. Otherwise, you're just information being pushed, and people don't like having information pushed unless they're doing a lot of research and they just don't have time for that kind of relationship. But when it comes time to making a business, when you're trying to find clients, partners, that relationship matters. And people want to do business with people they, say it with me, know, like, and trust. The best way to go about that is to be able to show you're a person with your own foibles and let them see what you have to offer. So what gets in the way? There are several things that I find give people the biggest obstacles. And number 1, fear. If this sounds like you put it in the chat, this is the fear of getting started. What if they don't like me? What if I don't sound like I know what I'm talking about? What if this is going to be out there forever and I'm going to be very embarrassed about it about 10 years? It's the paralyzing fear that prevents you from even getting started. And the worst thing about having a video that needs improvement is having no video at all. Because you're never going to improve, you're never going to take the chance, you're never going to take the risk, and you're never going to get the reward. The other thing that gets in people's way is brutal self-judgment. We are worst critics. We're the ones that are telling ourselves all kinds of negative stories about ourselves, things most people wouldn't even think about if they looked at us. And we are hobbling ourselves before we even begin. So oftentimes people overcome that fear and they do get started. But when it comes time to actually doing it, they may do 1 or 2, maybe 3. How many podcasts have you known where they only had a few episodes? And it's over. The self-judgment probably got in the way. The third part is just unfamiliarity. And this is something else that I want to help you with. How do I work with the camera? What do I need? What should I be doing? What shouldn't I be doing? And this is all a brand new landscape and it's overwhelming and I don't have time for it and I just don't know, but I know I need to do it. And it's just like, And so most people default to doing nothing. Because when it comes time to either do something or not, and you don't feel good about going forward, most people are not going to do it, darn. So, what I want you to do is to first of all tackle the self-judgment. Don't let this guy get in your head. Or that mean girl, the teenage mean girl who's sitting up in your head, taking up space and constantly telling you, you can't do this. You're going to wear that. Oh, you're too old. You don't have enough experience. That you're going to sound stupid. Could be the devil on your shoulder who's just saying, oh, you're going to be an epic fail. Whoa, I can't wait for this to happen. I told you shouldn't have bothered. Either way, you have, when you are going to be creating this kind of self-judgment, a terrible divide. Instead of one person who's speaking directly to another human being through the camera, you're having a dialogue with yourself. Instead of focusing outward to your audience, you are setting yourself up with a partner. So little hand puppets, and maybe that's what I should be doing next. You are mostly addressing the critic that's sitting in your head or on your shoulder, telling you nothing but negative stuff. The truth of the matter, most people don't see it at all, or they don't care. People are there to get the message. You don't care if, I'm sitting here and my hair is brunette and you'd rather see a blonde. Or you're thinking, okay, well, yeah, she's up there in years. I was really looking for some eye candy. I mean, the point of it matter is you are who you are. And that none of that other stuff matters if you've got something of value to share. So drop the self-judgment. Know that you're a human being and feel comfortable with yourself. There is an acting teacher who's very well known, Sanford Meisner. He teaches a number of things. First of all, acting is reacting to other people, just like sales is. They're very similar. You're not going to be able to sell something to somebody unless you listen to them first. What is it they want? What do they need? What's their real pain? So then you can meet them where they are. And you got to stop judging yourself as to, well, maybe I'm not as well qualified, and just feel good about who you are today. Embrace who you really are, warts and all, because guess what? We all have them. Every single person has got something that you would never think was ever be an issue. I was just at a voiceover conference, a 4-day conference over this past weekend, Thursday through Sunday. And there was a beautiful, gorgeous, young Latina woman who was given the champion of the Voiceover Arts Award for her excellence over a number of years. And you look at her and think, she can't be that old. She can't be doing much. And how easy it is for her. She's skinny. She's gorgeous. She has all this talent. Okay, that's not a real person. Then she got up there and started speaking. And she told how when she went snowboarding at age 26 without a helmet, she crashed into a tree and ended up in a wheelchair for a year or two, which has still left her with debilitating spinal pain. She says, I can't even really feel my left arm and my right leg anymore. I've learned to lug them along, and now you probably can't tell, but I'm living with pain every day. Furthermore, that concussion triggered Graves' syndrome, where she has terrible problems with keeping her body regulated and being able to stay healthy. And every day is a battle for her. Who knew? She doesn't wear it on her sleeve. Nobody would know it until she happened to reveal it. But she was able to show off what she could offer and help other people in that area. Everybody's got stuff going on. So don't be so concerned about your own, because the truth of the matter is most people don't really care. So I'm asking you to please don't hide away. You have something golden to share with other people. And once you get started, it may not be hard. And chances are you probably won't die from the experience. And instead, you're going to be feeling pretty good about yourself, thinking, I did that. Like me jumping into the lake in October, wearing a suit, carrying a laptop. Manage that. That's the way people feel when they jump out of airplanes. I mean, has anybody here ever done anything, that's risky or, that most people would shy away from? I put jumping out of airplanes top of that list. Nicole, what do we have in our chat? Anybody ever do something that most people would go, whoa, I'm not sure about that.
They put yes and yet, but if you guys want to put in the chat what you
Yeah.
did,
Yeah, what did
share
you
that.
do?
What did you
Yeah, what did
share?
you do?
Yeah. Or come off mic on the mic
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
what
guys
do
share that. Here, he shares some cool stuff. I mean, I I climbed a 30-foot rope at Hunter Liggett by myself in the wind and decided
my
halfway
gosh.
up what I did. So I mean, that was kind of crazy, right? Rappelling off the buildings. But at least Lisa's got her hand up. What do you got, Lisa?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, I used to be a professional equestrian. I tried out for the 2000 Olympics in a sport that a lot of people don't even know about. It's called 3-day eventing. And one of the phases of that sport is cross country jumping. And we run at those jumps at 32 miles an hour, and those jumps don't knock over. So we do. I actually broke my back preparing for the Olympics
Oh my
in
God.
that sport. So fun, but crazy.
Wow. Wow. But those are the risks that we take. Anybody
And
else?
then Bill says that skydives rappelling off a 500-foot cliff. And then Yvonne said surf in the winter, ride motorbikes, and skydive. I think you got some daredevils here.
I guess so. So I don't need to be talking to you about jumping in a lake. You're going amateur. So it's the same way with showing up on camera, truthfully. Those are amazing. So now I want to get into some practical things about how you can show up. If you're dealing with any kind of confidence issues about being on camera, if you want to be comfortable and charismatic, here are a couple things that I want you to do. Everybody should be doing. And first of all, that is what I would call warm-ups. Let's see, I want to do some of this off screen. So let me get back on here. Let me stop the share. I want to just kind of show you a few things. Who's got one of these? Water. It's the best lubricant. There you go, Yvonne. Yeah. Drink it a lot. It does a number of things. First of all, besides relieving a parched throat, it's going to lubricate your entire body, as well as this whole throat area and all the way through your face. It is something that you don't just do right before you go on camera. Take a lesson from a voice actor. You start about 2 hours before you're going to begin your speech or presentation or anything else. If you want to make sure you're always hydrated, then you should be always drinking lots of water, or at least start a few days before, because you're going to find that you're going to be moving a lot easier and much more comfortably when you do so. So drink water. I would stay away from the caffeine. If you're going to be having caffeine, have it hours before, and then make sure you have the water, or have the caffeine later, because that is just going to make you very nervous and it's going to dry you out. And you may not feel nervous, but you're going to just find that after speaking for a while, you're not going to have the stamina. And that is true for any foods that have caffeine. So if you're a chocolate lover like I am, save it as a treat for afterwards. Don't have a big bunch of it right beforehand. The other thing that I want to talk about would be the warm-ups. And this can have a number of different ways you can go about it. And we're going to do some warm-ups together right here. First of all, if you like to work out earlier in the day, that's outstanding. You could do some stretches. But what if you don't exercise that much? Or you don't have the time and you only have a few minutes before you go on camera? I'm going to go through a series of these that I want you to do with me so that you can get a sense of how you can immediately drop in very comfortably and confidently when it's time to go. First of all, very simple, shoulder raises and lowers. Bring up those shoulders all the way up towards your ears and drop. You probably feel like that feels kind of nice. Do it a few times. And when I drop them, it's really high up and boom. You're going to find that your neck is going to feel a little more elongated. And all of a sudden, some of the tension that you've been holding in the back of your head through your neck is going to be dissipating. If you still feel like you've got a lot of extra energy in your body, you could be twisting from side to side. You could do knee bends. Or if you just have a lot of very nervous energy and you need something to fidget with, get something like a ball or any other fidget toy. And with a ball like this is something that you can even do while you're speaking. Squeeze the dickens out of it. When you focus all your energy on something, even if it's on your other hand, and you let go, you're going to feel more relaxed. And that relaxation is going to be traveling up your arms and down your back. Follow on with your head, moving it back and forth, side to side, and turning all the way around, and doing it slowly in one direction and then another. It's going to make a huge difference. Now, here's the fun stuff, and this is where we get silly. How many people have ever been to a children's museum or taken a child there? Put a me in the chat if you ever have. You know, a children's museum where they're learning the parts of the body as well as physics and chemistry and all the other basics. And let me know if you have ever been to those little machines, those toggles, where the child can come up to a semblance of a human face and be able to press those toggles where the eyebrows go up and down. Maybe it's a puppetry center or something else. Well, try that. Raising your eyebrows really high, like in big surprise, and then down like you're really angry or the Grinch. And down. You're going to feel relaxation all the way through here. And now do the same thing with the mouth. A big smile like you're the clown. Your eyebrows are normally going up with that. And then a big frown. You can even vocalize it if you want. Big ugly frown, like you almost want to go into Wicked Witch of the West mode. I'm gonna get you, all that. Do that a few times. Big down. You're gonna feel a lot of relaxation right around your chin, right around your mouth, and we can hone in even more with the lips. So, anybody remember doing lip trills as a kid or blowing raspberries? Motor mouth. A little bit of a tingle there. You feel the tingle? You probably do. Then you can get the tongue in action, sticking it out. I don't like you. Eh. It releases a lot of energy and focus that's in there so that you can speak a little bit easier. Move the tongue from side to side. Make it up and down. And then, this is one of my favorites, pant like a dog. Yeah, pant like a dog. Try it. Get a big, deep breath. Now, you've done a number of different little exercises, all in your chair. How does it feel? Put a me in the chat if you feel a little bit more relaxed right now. Because if you're not, I don't think you're doing it. Okay, how are we doing with that? Some people feeling like a little more relaxed with all of this? Yeah, it makes a difference, doesn't it? These are the kind of exercises that I'm talking about that will help you warm up. They don't take much time, but it makes a world of difference. Okay, let me go back to my little screen here and go back to my share. Okay. Alrighty. So those are the different types of exercises and warm-ups you can do, and they work all the time. You can also do tongue twisters. Anywhere from Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers to, you'd like unique New York, unique New York, unique New York. You can go through all that just to get your mouth and your voice going. And all of that is just going to get you in the mode of being able to speak a little more clearly and more efficiently. All right, so that's enough with the warm-ups. Let me talk a little bit about breaths. And I want to talk to you about two different types of breathing techniques, again, to help you center yourself. One is called the basic technique. That means when you're breathing in, you're going to be breathing in for about the same amount of time that you hold it, that then you exhale, usually like 4 seconds. So breathe in, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you slow yourself down. So it's 4, 4, 4. In, hold, and then out. There's something else called a relaxing breath, which is also very good if you're having trouble sleeping at night. You're going to breathe in for 4, but you're going to hold for 7, and very slowly breathe out for 8. So the count would be 1, 2, 3, 4, then hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then breathe out 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you might just find yourself feeling more at peace, centered in your body, and ready to go. Did that work? Put a yes in the chat if it made sense to you, if it worked. You got the water, you've got the physical movement, and you've got some breathing. And all together, that makes a world of difference.
You got a lot of
Listen.
people in here going, yes. Oh, and then
Yeah.
Monica was asking you, she wondered if it was good to do before a virtual job interview.
Absolutely. All of this is great because you know how you're going to do really well in an interview? And I've hired a number of people in my day. Just show up as professional, but more relaxed and confident. People buy confidence. They really do. And if you have a hard time figuring how I'm going to get there if I don't feel it, especially if you're on camera, I like to use a technique I call future memory. And then, in other words, visualize, imagine you've already gotten that job and you've already been working at it and to great success for the next 3 months. Or you already gave a speech and people are clapping, they're at the back of the room, they're ready to sign up to get your offer, whatever it might be. You imagine, you walk yourself through it, each of those steps, it was successful. People were clapping. They liked what you were doing. They agreed. They want to hear more. And so you feel good about it. You're confident. When we're successful, we feel much more confident. And then take it back to the present time when you're about to walk into that job interview, about to step in front of the camera, and you're just reliving a memory. And when people see that you're confident, not cocky, but you know yourself, you know your stuff. I've got my expertise, and I have a lot to offer you. I would also suggest the mindset of an actor, which is not easy. And that means it's all subjective too. Like it or not, people are hiring other people based on whether they like you, not just whether you can do the job, but who do I feel most comfortable with? Who do I see being part of the team? Who do I see fitting in with a kind of team? And some personalities fit in better. The way we think about it, for example, you're in an ice cream store. Let's say you're pistachio. You're a great type of pistachio. You're unique. Got that nice crunchy little pistachio in there. You're green. People love you. You're perfect on a hot summer day. The hiring manager at that time was looking for Jamocha almond fudge. Loves pistachio, maybe, but really needed Jamocha almond fudge. It's okay. The actor mindset is you're not being rejected. You just weren't the one they happened to choose that particular day. It doesn't mean you're not in the back of their mind as an option for something else or referral to somebody else. It doesn't mean you were bad or you failed. Just somebody who kind of fit what they had in their mind, their idea, a little bit better. And you'll get a lot further to meeting whatever they had in their mind, especially if they're not so specific as to what they know they need. A lot of people don't know what they need. If you come across as confident, look what I have to offer. If it fits, great. I'd love to work with you. If it doesn't, I understand. Best of luck. And then people want to be able to chase after something. I mean, it's one thing to see somebody desperate and pleading and eager, or you could just tell from their eyes and their body language, even if they never say it. But maybe it's a little more attractive to be able to go, that's the expert I need. And how do I get him or her? So just some suggestions how it could spill over. Did that help? I hope. Okay. I am going to talk now to a second main point. And this kind of is a throwback to what I was saying before. You want to talk to one person. You're going to be having a conversation. So you don't have to feel out of breath. You do not have to strain your voice. You do not need to shout. You do not want to be pushing. You want to be speaking. Something from the voice actor world. If you're pushing, like, I really want you to do this, and you're going to naturally pull back because it's like a little marriage dance, push and pull. And if somebody's pushing at you, you're going to feel like they want something from me. They want to sell. But instead, if they're more of, come to me, got something for you, you're going to take that first step to them. And how do you get that person to take the first step? You talk to them as one person. You're not pushing an agenda. I've got something great I would like to share with you today. And if you don't mind, let me tell you a little more about how I think I can help you. People are much more receptive to that. They don't feel cornered, they don't feel sold to, and they don't have to worry that somebody's out to pull one over them. Now, let's get right into those conversation starters. This is what I would encourage you to start anytime you're going to be speaking on camera, whether it's scripted or a generic outline you're following for video, or you're going to be speaking with somebody one-on-one or giving a presentation. There are going to be four main questions. First of all, what's my message? Why am I here? Especially if I invited you to come, let's say, to my webinar, to my masterclass, we should both understand what I'm supposed to be talking about, and I should know it pretty darn clearly. My purpose today is to help you get a lot more interesting on camera and to be able to make money from it. So I want to show you my techniques. That's my message. Whatever it is for you, have that clear in mind. That's part of the intention that I was speaking about at the very beginning in terms of being able to have that strong link with your viewer, your audience, the person on the other side of the camera. Number two, why is what I have to offer important to my audience? I could say perhaps that you're here because you aren't as comfortable on camera. You haven't been able to get started. Or you feel like you've done some, but they really haven't made much of a difference. Or you're great in person, but you don't know how to bring it down to the camera. That's really tricky. Or maybe you just want to be the industry go-to expert and you want those media interviews. Whatever is important to my audience, that is something I'm going to be talking about. So when I'm having a conversation, perhaps with a prospect, somebody who's interested in what I have to sell, what I have to give them, what is it that they are looking for? I know what I have to offer and how I can help. What do they need? What do they want to know? And in the video, you start at the very beginning with it. It's fun to have a little hook, and you should, but tell them exactly what they need right from the very start, because otherwise they're going to click away. So you start off with a hook. You tell them the main thing they came for, and then you give them all the backup, all the other stuff that reinforces the message. And that way they know that you're not just going to try to snow them and maybe never get around to it. You've delivered value right up front, and they're more inclined to stay with you because it is a big competition. Question number three. You know what's important to your audience? You know what you have to offer. So how can you help with your message, help them solve a problem? How would you go about it? What advice would you give them to get them started? And then, oops, did I just lose something? Oops, 1, 2, 3. There we go. What question does it answer? And by this, I mean, they came into the call perhaps wondering something. Or maybe your message online came directly after they asked you something in a Zoom. And they're just saying, okay, that's great, but, you know, why is video any better than just, let's say, picking up the phone and calling? Or, all right, you're here and you're telling me that I need a great back end system so I can get my own coaching program started. What do I need? How do I get started? How do I get from where I'm at today to where I need to be? But either way, it kind of goes back to the very beginning. What is it that they booked a call with you for? Why are they watching a video? What is it of interest to them? So make sure you have all four elements: the message, the why. Why is it important to the audience? The how it helps, and the what. What does it solve for them? What is it that you're going to be able to achieve so it's very clear and very understood? Now, this is something else that I've seen that a lot of people falter in when it comes to having that one-to-one conversation. In actor speak, we call it eye lines. That means being able to look directly in the camera for the purposes of this topic right now. An eye line is where does your eye line go? Where do you focus? Where do you look? Now, if you're going to be speaking to somebody on camera, whether it's live or it's going to be recorded, always look at the camera. There's nothing worse than being in the Brady Bunch and you got everybody in their own little Zoom boxes, and it goes on for page and page and page. And somebody is trying to tell somebody something, but they're more inclined, because it's human nature, to go look at a face. And therefore, you're looking down, or you're looking up, or you're looking away. And immediately you lose that connection with your audience. Because all of a sudden, who's she looking at? We look at the eyes. We want the eyes coming through us, through the camera, somebody speaking directly to us. Now, how do you do that? If you're going to, let's say, be in a Zoom room and you've got a little camera and everybody is all over the place, there are several ways of doing it. One, you can either visualize somebody, either the person that you're talking to, or you could put a picture of that person or somebody else who's going to really know, and understand and support what you have to say, and put that picture right next to the camera and talk to them. That's one way of doing it. Another way is if you have two screens. Let's say your camera is on top of your laptop and you have a big screen behind it. You can position those little Zoom boxes on the back screen so that it's really, really close to the camera. Then you can move it around so that as everybody speaks, you can move that little box to wherever the camera is. You can also use what I like. I have a little center cam. It's a little tiny camera that comes on that back screen, and I can move the boxes all around it, and it doesn't matter. Nobody can tell that I'm talking to somebody here and somebody there because I'm able to manipulate it all around. There are different ways of being able to work. And if you want to know more about that, just hit me up. I'll be able to tell you some bit more. But you have to be able to speak directly into camera. That's just the gist of it. When we talk to somebody, we want to see their eyes. If we can't see somebody's eyes, if we're talking face to face with somebody and they keep looking away, we think immediately they have something to hide. They honestly might be shy, but it's a very difficult skill for some people. So what if you're just trying to cut the difference? I do want to look at the camera, but I only have my laptop and I want to look at the people there because instinctively we want to look at people. Well, what you might want to consider is having like a little bit of a notepad too, where you're able to, when you're listening to somebody, you might want to jot down a few notes and you can take a look off camera and then visually pick up the ideas and then speak to camera from memory. There's nothing wrong with ever using a visual pro. It looks normal. It looks confident that, yeah, I can break away. I don't have to be speaking at you with deer in headlight eyes. And when you're able to use something like that, it is going to allow you to connect with a real person on a little Zoom screen, connect with them and everybody else directly through the camera, and still be able to refer to notes. It takes a little practice, but when you do it well, you come across as somebody who knows what they're talking about, somebody who's confident, and somebody who's got it all together. All right, another important element when you're talking to somebody and you want to be conversational and personal, understand what your frame is. Now, the frame is how you show up in your little box. We know our little Zoom boxes, but you have to know the dimensions of them. So be very careful not to get carried away. If you're somebody who is standing, especially, there's always a chance to wander off screen, and that doesn't look so good. And this is something else that I'm going to just stop the share just so that I can show you a little bit myself. And, boop, 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 I went back. Let me go back. Where am I? Sorry, I just got a little technical setup here that just doesn't seem to want to be working too well for me. Okay, well, I'm not going to bother with it then. But the frame is, if you are working within this kind of a box, you want to be able to show up so that you are taking up most of the space. Not too much room on the very top. You don't want to be all the way slumped down so there's a big empty space above you. And you don't want to be off to one side or moving around so that you're outside of frame. If you are, by the way, a big hand talker, be very careful not to wave your hands around so much. This is where you're going to be taking like a little stress ball. Squeeze that thing below frame where people can't see it. People are going to want to basically see your head down to about the chest, more or less. So stay within and know what you're dealing with. Especially important if you're creating a video. You can see how you're going to look ahead of time, take some photos. If you don't have a DSLR camera where you can put the thing around to take a look at, or be able to use a smartphone and see how you're appearing. make sure that you're pretty much more or less centered in your frame. The other thing that you need to be careful about is knowing that anything on camera is magnified. Small is always going to be large. Little movements can look much bigger. So if you're going to move just an inch or two, it could look like you're moving a foot on camera. And if you're a big hand talker, this is where it can get distracting. So if you're somebody who really uses your arms and your hands a lot and you're gesturing, it's too much for the camera. You bring it down. If you're used to being on stage, you don't have to be so overly expressive. You are not selling to the back of the room. You're speaking one-on-one, like to somebody who's sitting there right in front of you, because the camera's going to magnify everything. And if you're thinking, oh my God, now it's going to see I'm breaking out or this or that brutal self-judgment, forget about it. People don't care. Just realize you have to be more or less still. You still want to be animated, but don't go over the top with it. Now let's move into that third section, the third big tip I want you to come away with, and that's called dynamic delivery. Those are the things that you can do that's going to set you apart from so many other speakers and also distinguish you from a lot of AI. AI is going to give everything pretty much even paced. You can hear some annoying ones these days. I remember hearing something with a young girl's voice with a lot of uptalk at the end. So in other words, every sentence started like this and ended like this. And then she would go on and it went and ended again like this. And it was over and over, very repetitive. And it was very, very annoying. And everything was the same. Human beings don't speak. Not at all. First of all, we are varying things like our pace, how quickly we're speaking. When we're excited about something, hey, we're going to speak a lot faster. If we're telling a funny story or if we're sharing an amazing attribute, we're going to speak faster. But if I'm teaching you how to assemble or going through some precise technological detail, and maybe there's some difficult vocabulary, I am going to slow down because it's important for me to know that you're following. And human beings are always going from pace change to pace change. And that's what makes human speech interesting. You could just start talking about, let me tell you about this amazing day I had. And then, oh my gosh, let me tell you what happened when I went to the doctor's appointment. All of a sudden, you're finding people are going to lean in because it's catching them off guard. It's not repetitious, like not monotonous. And that also brings in the tone. Just like with that previous example, I'm all excited. I want to share with you something. And then my tone shifts to, you wouldn't believe what happened. You don't want this happen to you. It's upset. You can hear the concern. And you want to know why. Wise, you're going to speak to different audiences in different ways. And you can mix it up in one speech. If you're speaking to a group of, let's say, medical researchers, the bulk of that speech is going to be very measured. And they're going to take a lot of time to talk about the latest developments with this new drug, this new procedure, and why. But you're not going to start off that way. You're probably going to tell an interesting story. You might have feedback with the audience, and you're going to mix it up. Volume also plays. This is where you can really get people to lean in. That doesn't mean you want to be a shouty man. That's going to be a bit much unless you're punctuating a certain idea and you want people to laugh or wake them up. But you can also speak very quietly, softer. And that's when in a camera, you could just kind of lean in a little bit. I've got something I really want to tell you. People immediately want to know what. And they all say, well, what'd she say? Why? And you can use it even in a deliberate fashion. Practice it so it doesn't sound like it's overly rehearsed. But when you're going to be speaking, you can go and vary with the volume and the pace and the tone so that you're naturally telling a story. People are hooked. Our brains are wired for stories. We think in images, not in words, and we'll be drawn to you. I can't do that. Most people who are scared to speak in front of other people or on camera can't do that either. And then there's my favorite, the power of the pause. Nothing wrong with dead air. People wonder, first of all, is their equipment bad? They lean in, they wake up, they stop scrolling, they stop looking at something else, and they want to know what you're going to say. You can use it for attention. You can use it for suspense. I got 3 things that you need to know right now. 1. And then people will be primed. They know something's coming. They know to pick up their notepad and to start writing. The other thing that the pause does that most people don't consider is that it gives you time to stop and collect your thoughts. So if you've been going on about a subject and you lose your place, it gives you a chance. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. Say it to yourself and then continue. Again, you're going to look like you're confident. You're going to look like you're controlled and that you're expert at something because you have enough gall to be able to stop talking. People are so afraid of dead air. Your rapport is a vacuum, but it can be very effective. Now, if there's no sound for 5 seconds, 20 seconds, then there's probably a technical problem or you froze. In that case, you're going to need some other type of help. But for the most part, we can use it. And all of these together make for an interesting delivery that's always changing. It's not predictable. And that's what human beings have. And you're able to naturally go between all of these when you put that emotion, that intention, everything you want into that story. All those things that I was talking about early on. So now let me also give you some hints about how you can manage your energy. And most specifically, to make sure that this is helpful for you, I'm going to give you 4 ways of being able to use your hands that will guide you into being able to vary your delivery and to be able to tell that story and to be sounding more engaging on camera. Number 1, this guy. You have your hands below the waist. He's comfortable. He's relaxed. He's got a hand in a pocket. Usually, if you're going to be on stage speaking, you don't want your hands in a pocket. But if you're going to be on camera, nobody's going to see it anyways. It's fine. When you're like this, with your hands down below, hanging straight down in a pocket, slightly bent, you're giving across the energy of being relaxed and calm. Because guess what? That's what your body language is. And the physicality is going to often drive your energy. You're going to feel perhaps a little more calm, a little bit more relaxed, being able to take your time and to slow down. But what if you want to show that you're a little more invested? Well, that's when we use our hands more along the waist. We are giving a pointer. Now, we don't want to keep doing the same gesture over again. Hands out, pointing here, pointing there. We're going to be varying all 4 of these hand positions. But when you are talking from the waist, it shows that you're caring and you're focused and you're helping people absorb the kinds of ideas that you're sharing. Then we're going to be moving up from having them at the sides to the waist. And now we're going to have them at chest level. It's above the waist. You're more animated here. You're enthusiastic. You might be even more eager because I'm trying to bring you in. Our body language is echoing the emotions we feel. I want you to come to me, or I want to reach out to you, or I really want to get you all excited because this is something very interesting you really need to understand. It conveys enthusiasm and a passion for your subject. And if you really want to do something, and I wouldn't do this too much, except if you're going to have a little fun moment in your presentation, have it above your head. This could be a fun exaltation going, hey, who's with me? Yeah. You only punctuate it with it. But when you're putting your arms way above, your hands are above your head, it just shows that you're emphatic about something. You're passionate. You don't want to speak up here all the same time. That just looks weird. But for the right moment, you can accent. And when you go from one to the other, you're going to find as you speak to people, even when you're sitting down, your hands are naturally going to move. But if you're having a hard time getting into a certain emotion, this could probably help you. So if you are trying to come across as somebody who's more enthusiastic because maybe you're just a quieter, more introverted person, speaking a little bit more around the chest level, above the waist, put your hands down or fold them. If you're showing that you're thinking about it and you want to be calm and you want to be precise, mix it up. And the most important thing I have to tell you is to have fun. Let go of the worries. You know your message. You are the expert. Enjoy what you have to offer, and people are going to respond. They can't help but have fun. If it helps, come up with some fun name for your program or how you're doing things. you will be manageable. And except for me, I keep clicking the wrong little thing here. And that's what I want to be able to show. You're going to be more memorable when you have fun. People will say, I can get her. She's fun. She's interesting. She's a human being. So, right now, I would just like to see who would like to be in the hot seat. By that, I mean, offer up if there's something that you would like to know or to work on. And just for a few minutes here or there, I'm not going to force anybody to do it. But if you would like a little bit of one-on-one help, let's go and see what we can accomplish. Then we can launch into Q&A and kind of wrap this all up. And I also want to share with you my free gift. So I am going to
Got
stop
Lisa
this.
here, so I'll bring her up and spotlight her
perfect,
too.
perfect.
She is on the ball with that hand raise.
All right, great. Love it. Okay. All right. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you.
Hello. Thank you so much.
My
I
pleasure.
definitely want to know your tech stack for that cool little camera that you can put in the middle,
Yes.
because I do have two screens. The problem that I have is that my laptop screen, if I put it in front of my big screen that has all the faces on it, which is what I look up at, then it blocks it.
Yep. It
And
sure does.
so,
I'm going to give it to you right now
Sweet.
because I love this thing. It is called the Center Cam, and I'm going to put the link right in the chat right here. And I actually have two of them. I've got one here in my office and one in my voiceover studio. And the nice thing about it, it's super teeny tiny. It's about the size of a dice. And it's on a thick wire that then it's on a clamp on the top of your monitor and just doesn't take up much room. And it's super easy and portable. It's USB based. Oh, you have a Center Cam, isn't it? Yeah, right. You're absolutely right, Monica. When I have a coaching friend who has one of these, and immediately my eyes went big and said, oh, I've got to get one of those. And it works very well. And especially if you ever travel, it's very easy to take with you. And you can extend where it will be on the screen, either up or down. So yeah, go check out that link, and I think you'll be impressed.
That is awesome. Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
The other thing is warming up before you do a presentation.
Yes.
You gave us some great exercises. What else can we do? I have a chronic cough, and so there's no amount of lubrication that will help, but there are some, like, not to be dirty, but there's some deep throat relaxation techniques that I know can help me once I start feeling it tighten up so that I can stop it. But sometimes in the moment, I forget what all of those are. So do you have any, like, easy system? The breathing exercises are great, but the more I do breathing, sometimes the more it actually irritates my issue.
Well, bringing a lot of the humidity in, whether it's going to be a little humidifier or something that's handheld or lozenges, I am actually going to refer you to a friend of mine. His name is Daniel. His name is Daniel Irving, and his specialty is helping people with these kinds of situations. He's an opera singer who has performed around the world, and he does an amazing job of helping folks. This is his name. I'm not sure for his website, but he's a great guy. I've done some joint master classes with him, and he is all about being able to sustain your breath, being able to manage certain conditions such as that, and he can customize probably a solution for you.
Okay, that would be awesome. Thank you. I really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anything else?
I think that's it pretty much for me.
Okay.
Breaking the ice, trying to encourage people, come up. The hot seat's not so bad.
Yeah, not at all. I know it's kind of segueing into Q&A. All righty, Audrey.
All right.
So, Audrey, what is it that caught your attention the most? What is it that can help you with?
Well, I really find all these tips so illuminating. I feel more like I'm like, oh, I can actually do this because I tend to speak kind of more monotone when I'm just talking to someone. So I'm like, okay, now I feel like I can use some of these ways to vary how I deliver in a way that captures attention where I'm not acting, you know, out of character, as it were. So that's very helpful. I'm also curious, you were mentioning um having videos that look natural, like little snippets of someone in your life or in their life. How would one go about doing that? Um, especially like would that be like holding the phone out or I'm just curious about what you might think about that.
Well, you're talking about how to keep somebody in mind when you're speaking to them.
Yeah, and like having these short clips that are showing that you're human, basically.
Okay. So I guess I'm a little curious. Are you talking about putting like video clips of you in between your recordings and everything else?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. That's relevant, but you got to also imagine, what are people watching a video for?
Mhm.
Is this something they're going to want to see? Um, People don't like having time wasted. So unless they know that they're going to get a sense of who you are and that's what the video is about, I probably wouldn't. I
Mhm.
think the best way to come across is just showing up as you would with your friends, and then being able to segue to the
All right.
professional, being able to joke around, perhaps, if that's the type of audience that you're looking for. If you're trying to get somebody to loosen up, maybe have some great stories, but it's just
Mhm.
approaching people the way, instead of thinking it's so important and therefore I've got to act a certain way and hold myself, you're able just to kind of relax and be yourself.
Mhm.
So it's
All
a little
right.
more organic than that.
Yeah. All right.
So, for example, um, all right, tell us about what you do.
All right. I do energy work and I'm a self-love coach. So I take people through the process of being in an intermediate state in their life or a life change. And they're feeling called to something more. They have the idea and they're like, oh, I think I should be doing this, but I don't know how. I
Okay.
help them come in contact with a part of themselves that can take those steps to make those decisions.
Okay. And when you first talk with somebody, did you ask them like a lot of questions just to find out where they're coming from and what they need help with and other stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if you were speaking with me, how would you ask? Would you be speaking in that same kind of level tone all the time? Because there's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to be full of energy to be effective on camera.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just basically be talking like to you how I'm talking
Yeah.
right now.
Okay. And when you're with a good friend, let's say you're out there, you know, you've seen a movie or you're going out for lunch and all that. How are you like that? How are you with them?
Actually, I'm pretty much the same.
Oh, but you're
I
laughing
can
and
get
you're
more
smiling.
animated.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
get a little bit
yeah.
more animated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's also being able to show that your barriers are down with that other person.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not have the Energizer Bunny thing going on like me, where I'm just like all over the place. When your range might be a little bit smaller, but you can still vary it. And you
Mm-hmm.
open up with your beautiful laugh or smile or a little bit of musicality in your voice.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're telling a story, like tell a story about, "Well, what did you have for breakfast this morning?"
Okay. I had um rice with honey and um cinnamon.
Okay. And is that really good altogether? Because that sounds pretty
Yeah,
interesting to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get that little bit of sweetness as well. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
so sugary, but it's from a natural honey and natural sucrose.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I like it. Yep.
Okay. So for you, it's like you're warm coming in. So for
Mm.
you, that would be. opening up and showing the heart,
Mm,
just not just speaking,
mm,
but also,
mhm.
talking to people or getting them to speak from what they're experiencing and then being able to relate it. So the
All right.
bandwidth may not be as wide, where somebody will go, oh, let me tell you all this, and then we could talk quieter, but you still have it. And for you, it would
Mm.
be more in the warmth. And then I could see a much more of an energy and I could see that heart. And then all of a sudden, I feel like you're reaching out to me. I saw
All
that more
right.
with you. I just felt like the Audrey. Because then I would be curious, like, oh, okay, tell me, with the rice and the honey, and I forgot the third ingredient.
Oh yeah, cinnamon. Uh-huh.
That cinnamon, that sounds so good. I mean, how did you arrive at that? Is that a family tradition, a cultural one? Because that sounds really good. I might want to try it tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah, I usually also like to add fruit, nuts,
Yes.
if I'm really interested in it. But yeah, it's just something I put together and just was like, oh, this sounds like a good thing. It's got all the all the stuff in there. So
Yeah. And what I found is, at least I don't know if anybody else could tell, but when you were telling me about that, you were speaking a little more quickly, with you're punctuating what you were saying, what the ingredients were, but you were visualizing it too.
mhm,
And it's the
mhm.
visualization that also comes through. Anytime we're speaking, we think in pictures, not just in words. But that's another way of being able to bring out that personal side or the story side of whatever you're doing.
All right.
So I hope that
Great.
helps a little bit.
It does. It helps a lot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Anybody else? Okay, well, maybe what we will do is segue into any other Q&A, and then I could just sort of share my free gift. Is there any other general question people have? Covered a lot of ground. Got everything.
How about
All right. Well, we can
Monica
get.
or anybody else? You want to come up and share anything?
All right. Well, we could go right from the hot seat. I think we got our Q&A, all of it mixed together, and what I want to do is, Nicole, you could drop this in the chat too, but I also have it up on screen as well as a QR code. What I appreciate you coming today. Thank you so much. This would be my favorite thing to give out. It's a 12-page guide cover that talks about 10 different strategies that I like to use and I recommend for others just to get more comfortable and confident and charismatic so that you can start showing up, winning clients, being more visible. And they're easy things to do. We touched on some of them, and it's an easy downloadable. So, swoop that up. It's yours. Enjoy. I'd love to hear what you think about it. And if you would like to connect with me, I'm all over the place. I got my email, I got my website. Here is my LinkedIn, and would, very much love to hear from you. So I'm gonna, I guess, stop my screen right now. And if there's anything else, we still have some time, I know. You let me know.
Well, I love this, and we do have a lot of people, especially in Voice Lab, that are getting on the stage, or they're not new
Yes.
at getting on the stage, but definitely great information to share. How to really promote themselves and get on the camera and having more discussions.
Yes.
And I love what you did with Audrey, because there is some of that little tonality change and a comfort as she's having a conversation. So would you suggest, I mean, I do this for my summits, people that want to, they're not still not comfortable on camera, but they know they need to be there. I do interview style with people so they can kind of practice, or maybe they don't want to write a speech and kind of connect that way. What would you say, to kind of move the needle for people too? Is that a good thing to maybe start talking with other people on camera, having a conversation, guesting on podcast?
Oh, yeah. It all depends on where you're coming from. I love the interviews because, first of all, people feel like they know what to expect. Most of the interviewers are going to ask for the kind of things they would like to talk about, the guests would like to talk, or the questions might be shared ahead of time, or you have a specific topic. But people don't feel like they're caught. I've got to put together a whole big presentation, or I'm going to be just speaking in front of a group for so long. It's more of a conversation. And the nice thing is with an interview, it does feel one-to-one because that's what it is and that's how it's received. And anytime you are going to be the host, it's so much easier to be able to get people speaking. And naturally, when you ask them about something that's really near and dear to the heart, or even throwing something off silly off topic. Sometimes interviewers like to say, what's a silly thing that happened to you recently? Or tell us about what happened to you in childhood that led you on the career path you're on now. I think interviews are fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's great because I don't see that everybody is as necessarily in that fear zone. I think they're just trying to find what works for them, and especially in the change of business, and they feel overwhelmed with the YouTube and what's going on. And I know that YouTube is pushing that algorithm more of creative people. And like you were mentioning earlier, they're not looking for AI and they're not looking for perfect. That's why those crazy videos with people in their car are doing so
Oh,
well,
yes.
because they want people in a different spot, in a different place, and you don't really have to go bungee jumping off the cliff to find that moment, that viral video, because you don't know, that might not even go viral. That might not be what does it.
Yeah. And I mean, some people are going to be chasing the viral. It's very hard. I mean, because everybody's competing for attention. What I would recommend is if you're going to want to make something, make it with a group of other people. And so everybody is doing it almost as a social outing. You might be talking to three people that might be on a video or having that one-on-one conversation. And it doesn't even have to be a long video. I've got a whole series I call Momisms. And I created that because I'm showing how you can create effective videos in under 10 seconds. Some of them are only 4 seconds. And I'm doing it for something that people can relate to. If you're wanting to go viral, if you're trying to get something that gets attention, try to keep it alongside whatever your business is, but make it fun. For example, you go into a gift shop, everybody has seen those funny sayings on cocktail napkins and towels. I started turning those, each one of those, into like a little video, acting it out. It's often only 1 or 2 sentences. Like my very first one, um, I was in my kitchen. I just set up my phone, no big deal, on a tripod with a little bit of light there. And I had on an apron, I had a big bowl, I had the beaters because I was stirring up a chocolate mix for brownies. And then I would have the camera going, and I just stopped and looked up and I said, good moms let you lick the beater. Great moms turn it off first. And it wasn't an original. It's kind of funny, you know. It's one of those things you might see. Another time I took the camera to a big chair and I had like a little wine in my hand and I said, oh, yesterday we had a cockroach in the kitchen. My husband cleaned the kitchen, floor to ceiling. Tomorrow moving the roach to the living room. Little things like that, people chuckle. It doesn't take up much time, but you can get it all done in just a few seconds and you can produce it. For most of those, I shoot camera right here. I will even edit it in Instagram. And by the way, if you use a tool like Instagram or TikTok or whatever, download it before you post it on that social media so you don't have any of their little stamps on it. And then you can send it anywhere you like. I caption it and I post them everywhere. And I'm found because I have more content. And people smile and laugh. And they say, yeah, you're fun. You're funny. This is relatable. And I have them all up on YouTube. If you do get into making videos, give yourself a library. YouTube is perfect for that. You're going to be found more. It's owned by Google. And YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world. And that means short videos as well as long videos. Yeah, you could put keywords in there. You could put other descriptive phrases, but people will find you for what you want them to find you for. And you don't have to spend more than 15 minutes doing it.
Yeah, and then Monica has in here, my interest might be off topic videos for job seekers. I am not
Yes.
doing this.
Okay. Well, I'd like to know a little bit more about that. Are you talking about sending like a little video preview, an introduction when you apply for a job? Is that the idea?
Well, it hasn't happened to me, but you keep hearing that people are asking, job seekers to do these AI interviews or
Yes.
recordings of themselves. I'm not sure that I want to work for that company that does that, but I've been hearing reports about that where people have to record a video of themselves answering some questions.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like that either. It's very artificial and it puts a lot of stress. And all of a sudden, those who are more comfortable or have been doing video longer have an advantage over those who might be far more experienced or talented, who don't. Not everybody wants to be on video. I have a sister who's an accountant. She refuses to turn the camera on, even for team meetings. She wants to be invisible.
Yeah, well, it just seems weird because, they could be using AI maybe to evaluate you, or, I don't
They
know,
are.
but yeah. And so like, I'm not sure that I want to get involved in that situation to begin with, but you hear that this
Yeah.
is happening.
Well, and I've heard it too since now for about a year or so that
Yeah.
some applicants are being interviewed by an AI bot.
Yeah, no, yeah, I've heard that too. That's not happened to me, but I've heard that.
They're trying to see if you match up with the certain things they're looking for, and they lose a lot of great people because, that's not the way you're going to find this information out. If you really want to pursue those jobs, you can. Um, and you could set something up very simply with a phone and a tripod and the ring lights, and you can even have somebody coach you through it or work with you. But then it becomes a big project. And it would be interesting to see whether the interview that they want to get on video is the same for every company. Because then you could create a nice generic and just send it over and over again. But it seems bizarre to me. They're asking you to be an actor. I send in self taped auditions because they don't want people in the room anymore. It's a lot faster and easier to do it this way. But the company's being lazy. And I don't think it's fair to the applicants.
Yeah, well, I've been looking for a while. Like, I'm coming out of the U.S. Agency for International Development situation. But what's funny is like one company that I was trying to apply to, I think I've applied to like 7 or 8 times, and I haven't got an interview. Is Oracle, and so now it turns out that they, laid off all these people by email. So like maybe it's a blessing in disguise. They never
Yeah.
reached out, when my networking failed.
The tech companies have been laying people off for the past few years. I knew Oracle from when they were starting because I was working for a company, Sequent, that had the database market. It was owned and run by a bunch of engineers, but they couldn't market their way out of a paper bag. Oracle was an upstart. They knew how to market. My company went out of business really quickly. But yeah, it's all about that. But you're not going to find much with the tech companies right now. AI is hiring. Healthcare, they need people. But the tech companies let go of a lot of people over the past couple of years.
Yeah, well, that's what I was actually looking for was, that, Oracle's involved in the Cerner transition for the Veterans Administration, and so I'm not going to go into why that would make sense, but yeah, no, but that's okay. Oracle doesn't sound like a good culture fit.
It may or may not be. It was always a good company, but things have changed. And when a company is struggling and going through a lot of downsizing and trying to become relevant again, it's not always the most fun place to be.
Yeah, well, you can call me judgmental, but I think, that if they're going to lay off that many people, they should give them like a month's warning or something, and you don't have to lock people out. I mean, I'll stop. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no. I knew back in the day here in Atlanta, there was a company called Knowledgeware. It was run by Fran Tarkenton, former football player. And they were a high flyer. This was back in the 80s. They would bring people in, they'd fly them in, they would move their families over. And the guy would show up for work. Usually it was a guy that show up for work the first day. And he said, well, no, we eliminated your job. You're fired. And they did that routinely. And there are a lot of companies who just don't.
So you mean people moved, like they sold their house, then moved their kids' schools, and then
They're out of a job. Sorry. No job here for you.
incredible, but they're not in business anymore?
I haven't heard from them. They probably got acquired a long time ago.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
They
But yeah,
line. Yeah, I remember their sales reps used to have like $2,000 dinners and they would take out all the clients and they drink and party. So they were living the high life until they didn't. Then it was over.
Well,
That's totally off topic here, but
But getting back to it though, really, this is how your video stands out and the creative way you can stand out in what you're doing. And it's so important and
yes,
so relevant for doing the podcast that I do, or doing summits or workshops or master classes.
Mhm.
This is how you're standing out, because you're doing video, but you're being you. You're bringing your
yes,
personality in here, and so many people I talk to, they're they want to copy and paste and be cookie cutter, but your strategy and your structure's the best way to start with a foundation. But how are you being that unique unicorn when you're on the stage?
yes.
How are you being relevant?
And here's one other thing that I think you could do to show that you're unique and that you're ahead of the curve. And to your point, Monica, when they want to do a video interview, create your own video about yourself and your work and what you've accomplished. Kind of like almost a video resume, but make it very personal and interesting and fun. Keep it short, 90 seconds, 2 minutes at most. Put it on your LinkedIn profile. There is a featured section, and you pin it to the very beginning. So when people are looking you up, and they always will for any kind of a job, they can see your video and immediately get a sense of who you are and what you're about.
Awesome. Awesome. Lisa's got her hand up again here.
Yeah,
Good,
I'd like to add to that if I can for Monica. So Monica, if you can, research who the likely hiring or interviewers are, who you're sending the video to. Research them. Something as easy as perplexity.ai can help you research those people or who the likely people are, and focus on what is going to be important to them, as opposed to just trying to create a generic interview. What will make you stand out is being the person who says, maybe at the beginning of your video, I'm not sure who's watching this. Is it Sharon or Jacob or Mark, or maybe another hiring manager that I'm not aware of? As you start to address people who are likely to be watching it, they're going to know that you aren't just sitting back waiting for them to tell you everything you have to do in your new job. You're going to be a go-getter. If you do pre-research before going there, they're going to think that you're somebody who's going to take ownership of what it is you're doing. And they're going to be impressed just by that. And it only takes maybe 25 seconds on Perplexity to do that kind of research. So I hope that's helpful.
great idea. You're muted, Nicole.
I hit it too many times. How's it going? And my button went too many times. I got excited. I am a hand talker. But I absolutely stopped banging on my desk. So that's a good thing, because it messes with the camera. I'm that person, a few things are flying across the room, but hey, it's exciting. And I want to thank you guys for being here today. If you haven't, connect with Laura. Get her information's in the chat. If you need anything else, ask. Definitely connect. This is part of what we're doing with Voice Lab on the school platform, is bringing people like yourselves, bringing wonderful hosts and creators and sharers and teachers up here to this stage to represent and help you in your business as an entrepreneur, to be able to stand out, be able to get seen, get heard, stand out and shine, and be that wonderful leader you are, and absolutely keep your creativity and be a wonderful person. We're also going to be in these next few weeks listing more stages. There's a few stages that are coming right now. It's Plot Twist is for authors and writers and speakers and people who offer publishing support. And the Authority Code, that's for soul-led leaders. How do you influence? And video is a great way to influence your group, whether it's small or large. But how do you influence those people to do the change, to bring transformation, and to grow your group of people? So this is so exciting. We've got some podcasting that we'll be adding to for guest spots, and so other people's stages. Those events will be listed there as well. And if you'd like to do a masterclass, if you feel you have something that can absolutely boost somebody in their business and really rock their entrepreneur journey. So that is for people who are 40 and up and have been in business for 5 years plus, and also coming out of corporate America in 2026, and how do you stand out from AI in this business? So that's what we're bringing to you. And thank you so much, Laura, for what you've done today and what you've brought.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Hope it was of value to everyone, and reach out. I'd love to talk with you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, folks. If there's anything else, any other questions before we go? Awesome. Oh, and Lisa booked a time with you. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
I'll look forward to
Awesome.
it.
So good.
Well,
Good. Absolutely. If you guys are on Voice Lab, this recording will be released to you in this next week, and the other recording as well as coming up. Oh, this is good. This is great. Have a fantastic week. Another wonderful thing to rock your week. And Monica booked a time too.
Great.
Absolutely great.
Looking
Great to
forward
share.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. And I'd love to connect with you guys as well if we have not connected. Let me know. I'd love to get on a call with you and talk a little bit more about visibility and stages. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Love it so much. Awesome sauce. Ready for the rest of the week. And it was April Fool's, but you're a fool no more.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Thanks,
Well,
guys.
like they said in the acting world, end scene. Yeah.
You're showing up. You're posting. You're speaking. You're doing everything they told you would grow your business. So why is it not converting? Because visibility is only half the equation. Getting attention is easy. Turning that attention into clients takes strategy. Voice Lab was built to solve that. This is where front-end visibility meets back-end conversion. You learn how to get on stages, create your own platforms, and use podcasts, summits, and workshops to grow your audience and generate real leads. Then you learn what most people never build. A system that captures those leads, follows up, nurtures relationships, and turns interest into revenue. Email and newsletter strategy that actually gets responses. Workflows, not just more noise. Real connection that leads to real business. Inside Voice Lab, you are not guessing. You're learning the how. You're implementing in real time. You're building a business that works even when you are not constantly chasing attention. Because here's the truth. If you don't have visibility, no one knows you exist. If you don't have systems, nothing converts. Voice Lab gives you both, so you can stop performing for attention and start building momentum that pays you back. If you are ready to grow your authority, expand your reach, and finally turn visibility into income, join Colleen Stubbs and Nicole Borghi in the Voice Lab. Scan the QR code, join Voice Lab group on the school platform, and build the business